Welcome to Trina Talk. This is the podcast where guests share their stories of pursuing their passions, living a fulfilled life, and empowering others. Each week, I talk with inspiring leaders, business owners, and people with amazing stories from around the world in unscripted conversations as they share their successes and failures. This podcast is all about empowering you to keep striving in your personal and professional life. I am your host, Trina L. Martin. Hey, welcome to another episode. If you're listening, go ahead and go out and subscribe so that you won't miss any future episodes. Also, if you like the show, give us a 5-star review. That way we can move up in the rankings and other people can find the show and be impacted and inspired just like you. Are you a woman of color in tech who feels stuck because you don't see people who look like you? You lack support from someone who truly understands your journey, and you want to overcome the obstacles that you're facing in the tech industry? If you want to elevate your pay, become a leader in your company, and be noticed by colleagues and executives to advance in your career, then Tech Trifecta is for you. It's my 3-month private coaching program, and it's now open. Only a limited number of women are going to be accepted. So apply today at tlmintl.link/Tech Trifecta. My guest this week is Rich Lewis. Rich is an author, speaker, and coach who focuses on centering prayer as a means of inner transformation. He teaches centering prayer in both his local and virtual community and offers one-on-one coaching. Rich's newest book is titled Sitting with God, A Journey to True Self Through Centering Prayer. Rich has been a daily practitioner of centering prayer since June 1st, 2014. Centering prayer has been so life-giving and life-changing that he feels compelled to share his journey with those who wish to learn more. Hi, Rich. Welcome to Trina Talk.
Hi. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you being here. You are doing a lot of things. Actually, you're doing a lot what I'm doing, but you have a component to what you do that I think makes you unique and that I was very interested in. So how I always start out the show, I always ask the guests to tell the listeners who you are and what made you the Rich that you are today.
Sure. Well, who I am, that's a very deep question. So, and that's actually probably why I practice centering prayer. I'm learning, continuing to learn who I am. So I guess right now, who am I is I have a website called Silence Teaches that's devoted to centering prayer. So it helps people discover their true self, the person God created them to be, so they can live from this person. And it's a journey. It's not an endpoint. So I guess who am I is right now I'm sharing centering prayer with people that want to learn more about it in case it can help them discover their true self as well. So that's, and then what was your other question? There was 2 questions in there. I'm sorry.
Just, telling people, what made you become the Rich that you are today.
I guess I would say centering prayer did. And I discovered centering prayer in 2013. So obviously I was still Rich before then. So I was probably obviously a different Rich, but centering prayer, when I read about it in a book, I was perusing Amazon in 2013, looking for a book to read. And I came across Healing the Divide, Recovering Christianity's Mystic Roots by Amos Smith. I started reading it, and in it, he talked about a practice he had been doing for 15 years called centering prayer. And that immediately intrigued me. So I reached out to him and we had a back and forth email dialogue. I began practicing centering prayer, and I began reading other books on centering prayer. But it kind of opened up a whole new world for me and revealed to me that this practice can teach me who I am, my true self, and put me on a neat journey. So I guess I was on a journey before that, but maybe I was on a journey toward this and looking for something like this. It just took me 50 years or so to find it, or yeah. Not quite, about 48 years or so to find it.
Oh, and before I ask the question that I want to ask, What were you doing? Because this is now your business, right? This is what you coach on and speak on and things like that.
I do it on the side. Actually, I have a
Okay.
day job that I do.
Okay.
I work for a financial services firm, so I do that during the day. But I do this as well, and then would like to retire into doing this. So
Gotcha.
it's something that I enjoy doing, and I'm doing it part time, and it'll probably become more full time when I retire.
Yeah, got that. So, what is centering prayer? But before you answer that, what was it in your life that made you seek this out, and what spoke to you, the reason why you were so interested in it?
I guess I always considered myself an introvert, and I always enjoyed, and I enjoy being with people, but I didn't mind solitude and doing activities like that. And silence always attracted me. And I guess I don't mind walking or going out in nature or nighttime. So it always attracted me. And then at the same point, I definitely believed in God, but I knew that I probably wasn't going as deep in God as I could. I probably wasn't my relationship with God maybe had no depth and intimacy. So I think I was just searching for something to do in the silence and searching for, how do I have a deeper relationship with God? And Amazon showed me centering prayer.
Wow.
So I guess I can thank Amazon. So I guess I didn't know what I needed, other than something was missing. A depth and richness to my relationship with God was definitely missing. And I guess I was just searching and reading, and it jumped out at me in that book that I mentioned in 2013.
Wow. So tell the listeners exactly what it is, the principles, the process, all of that.
Sure. So centering prayer, I'll give you a quick history, and then I'll describe how you do it. So it's been around for about 50 years. It was created in the early 1970s by 3 Trappist monks, so 3 Catholic priests. At that time, they saw there was a lot of other forms of meditation happening, but maybe not so much for the Christian community. So Father Thomas Keating kind of charged them that's find something for the Christian community as well. So one of the priests, Father William Meninger at the time, was reading a book called The Cloud of Unknowing, which I believe is a 14th century book. And as he read it, kind of a silent prayer method kind of jumped off the pages as he read it. And so the priests and clergy began practicing it, and then they began rolling it out to everybody, normal, not that they're not normal, but everyday people, lay people as well, as here's a practice you can do in the silence. And then in 1984, they created the Contemplative Outreach Organization, which is the main centering prayer organization. And the website is contemplativeoutreach.org. And it's really the main centering prayer organization with a ton of resources. And if you go on it, you can also find groups that practice all over the U.S. as well as internationally. Of course, nowadays you could practice with anybody anywhere via Zoom. Many of the groups are now on Zoom. So that's a little bit about, it's 50 years old and why it was created. And then it's not exclusively for Catholics. So It's basically anybody can practice centering prayer. You can come as you are to this practice with wherever you are in your faith. And the Contemplative Outreach also believes in a lot of interfaith work and talking to people of all faiths and what are their practices and how do they practice silence and prayer. So, and now let me answer how you do centering prayer. So you sit comfortably with your eyes closed to begin your centering prayer sit. And centering prayer is considered 2 things: meditation, so silent, wordless meditation, and a relationship with God. Because during centering prayer, we open to the God presence and actions of God within during centering prayer. So you begin your sit by sitting comfortably, close your eyes, and then interiorly introduce a sacred word of 1 or 2 syllables. It could be God, love, ocean, Jesus. And that's signifying you're beginning your prayer time and opening to the presence and actions of God within. And then while you're sitting there in silence, when you engage your thoughts, and what I mean by that is if you begin thinking about all the things you were doing before your sit, or you begin planning what you're going to do when you get up from the sit and all the errands you're going to do, you begin to realize you're no longer sitting with God. You're sitting with your planning and plotting, or your regret over the past if maybe you were thinking about something you didn't like the way you handled it. So then you reintroduce that sacred word interiorly to come back to the present, let go of these engaged thoughts, and then let go of the sacred word as well. So you don't use the word as a mantra. It's just used when needed to come back to the purpose of your sit, of just sitting with God. So that's how you do the practice. And maybe the last thing I'll say about the sacred word is it doesn't have to be a word. If you're an auditory person, you might choose a word. If you're more of a visual person, which is what I am, and I discovered, I use an interior image to come back to the present moment that I kind of picture in my mind. If you're more of a physical or active person, you might want to use your breath. And some people don't want to close their eyes, or they're afraid they'll fall asleep. So they keep their eyes open and stare at a spot a few feet ahead in the distance to keep themselves in the present moment. So there you have it, kind of a quick history of centering prayer and how you do it.
It's interesting you say that, because I'm the person that if I close my eyes, I'll fall asleep. So I've tried meditation and things, and it's just like, I'm like, I got to do this differently, because if I close my eyes, I'm just like, I fall over. So you wrote this book, Sitting with God, Your Journey to Your True Self Through Centering Prayer. How do we get to our true selves? Because as you said, a lot of times you sit down, and I'm guilty. I sit down and I'm like, I'm going to relax. And then, like you said, I'm thinking about, okay, what do I need to do? What's tomorrow? What do I need to take care of? How do you get to where you're supposed to be?
Sure, because what you're doing is you're letting go of your thoughts and emotions. And if you think about it, we tell ourselves things that are just not true, which include, I'm not confident in myself, or I shouldn't try that, or I don't have the right skill set, or I'm too young to do that. Someone more experienced should be doing that, or I'm too old. Someone younger should be doing it. So we tell ourselves all kinds of things. So during centering prayer, you're really just letting go of who you are not and all the things you tell yourself that really aren't true, and just sitting with God, and it's just you and God. And then you're at least for me, I've noticed I'm getting up from my silent sits and acting from my true self, the person God wants me to be, and doing the things that I should be doing. Some of them are out of my comfort zone and some of them scare me, but it doesn't mean I shouldn't be doing them. So your true self is the person God wants you to be when you can let go of all the things you tell yourself that are really not true. And that's what's happening in centering prayer. You're letting go of all kinds of thoughts and emotions and just connecting with God, and then acting from your true self. So I think of it as a true self journey. I sit with God, and then I get up and walk with God on my true self journey through life.
I love that. And you coach on this, correct?
Yes, I offer one-on-one coaching, and different types of people. Some people are new to centering prayer, so they want help with just starting a practice, and they're just concerned that it's not something that they'll do without help. And then there's others that are already practicing, and they want to maybe add a second sit, or they want to discover their true self and talk more about how do I make sure I'm living from my true self? Who is this person? What's getting in the way of it? So we talk a lot about that.
And that was my question. How do we know we're getting to our true selves? How do, if I'm someone who lacks confidence, me sitting down and doing this, how am I going to release that negative thought to actually say, no, you're confident, you're strong, to get to that true person that God created me to be?
I guess I would say centering prayer helps you let go of all of these thoughts. Mm-hmm. And then for me, and everybody may have their own, this is my true self barometer, if I'm saying it right, parameter, I can't even talk. So if it's something that excites me, mm-hmm. something that doesn't harm me or others, something that gets me out of my comfort zone, even if I'm scared to do it, then it's something I should move forward on. And I have an inner peace and calm about it. Then it's something I should move forward on. So I think many people maybe have a great idea of what they want to do, but then fear holds them back. Mm. So I would say, you're acting from your true self. If it's something you want to do, but it scares you, but you just know it's right, and you know it's not harming yourself or others, you're excited about it, you have an inner peace or calm about it, it just scares you. That's probably something from your true self that you just need to take some action on. And you don't need to know all the steps. You just need to you need to know the next step. So you might have an endpoint in mind, but you just need to know the next step and take that next step. And then the path will kind of be, clarity comes with action. But if you don't take any action, nothing will happen.
Wow. Yeah, that's very interesting. And I think, especially in the day and age that we're in, where there's so much noise, I think that this really will work well and help a person really to get centered. Because there's a lot of stuff, just the news and everything that goes on. And I find that it kind of makes me anxious. So, yeah, I've stopped watching the news. And I'm like you, I'm an introvert and I like having that time to sit alone and just think. And, I don't do any formal, practice as far as meditation or anything like that. But I do like to have that time where I can feel like I'm centered and just clearing my mind of all the clutter and crap that has been running through it, all day long.
No, I mean, that makes sense. And I think there's a lot of different contemplative practices. So centering prayer is one path or method, and it resonates with me and works well. But I think everybody can find the right contemplative practice that works for them. And there's many. So it sounds like you've found one for yourself. But I think it's important to find one and maybe make it a daily practice, because it does slow you down and connect you to your true self and help you move forward with your true self on a daily basis, versus if you're not taking the time to slow down. 10 years passes and you look back and think, well, what I wanted to do, I didn't even try. And maybe you're disappointed in yourself. So it at least for me, centering prayer, since I've been practicing centering prayer, is kind of open up a neat path for me. None of this was on the radar that I'm doing now. So I didn't dream of having a website that's now 5 years old. I didn't dream of guest speaking and teaching people this. I didn't dream of coaching people, and I didn't dream of writing a book and sharing it with others. And whatever else will happen. So all of this happened as a result of centering prayer, but it wasn't even on the radar screen 7 years ago.
So all of that happened as a result. So you never desired to write a book or coach or speak or anything like that?
No, I mean, the idea of writing a book was pretty daunting. I mean, I'd never written anything more than 5 or 6 pages in school, and then here I have I think it's about 290-page book, and public speaking scared the heck out of me. But now it doesn't bother me, and it's so. And coaching, I lack the confidence. I mean, I think centering prayer has given me so much confidence in myself, because I know I'm acting for my true self, and I'm not doing it alone. I'm doing it with God. So yeah, it's been this is centering prayer has really done healed me, transformed me, and helped me partner with God and live from my true self.
So what can you tell the listeners as far as when you coach someone, who are you coaching and how do they come to you, and what's your process as far as getting them into the flow?
I guess they usually find me. I do a lot of I guess my website, I have a weekly meditation that goes off it. So most of the weekly meditations are regarding centering prayer. So they might find me through the meditation and read something that interested them. I do a lot of posting on Facebook where I just share and things about centering prayer. I ask, and I'll repurpose. So I'll do a post, and then I might even repurpose it into a Facebook live video where I'm answering a question. What is centering prayer? How can it help you? What are the fruits of the practice? Where should you do it? When should you do it? Why should you do it? I'll answer a lot of questions in a post or on a Facebook Live, and that'll attract people because it's something that was interesting to them or something they felt stuck with. So they'll watch the video or see the post, and then next thing you know, I'm getting reached out to on my contact page of my site, or they're messaging me on Facebook Messenger because they saw something and they felt stuck somewhere and they thought, well, I might be able to help them.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. So tell us about your book. It's the title is very interesting. So tell us a little synopsis of exactly what's in the book.
Sure. So the book, is titled "Sitting with God: A Journey to Your True Self Through Centering Prayer." So, one, it obviously shares what is centering prayer, and it's written in a very easy to read manner. It's not written from an academic standpoint. So I wanted to make it easy and accessible for people, and I wanted it to be for people that either were new to centering prayer, and even those that already are practicing centering prayer, because I think both can be helped in the book. So really, I talk about what is centering prayer, and I talk a lot about how it has healed and transformed me, and just share from my own personal experiences in the book. And then I made the book very easy to read. So the chapters are short. Within each chapter, you'll see a heading, and then you know what to expect on the next page or so. So there's short chapters, headings, short, sections under each heading, and that people enjoyed that. They told me that it was easy to read, and they could kind of look ahead and say, okay, I got a page and a half to read of this before I have the next topic. And then at the end of the chapter, I have usually 4 to 5 questions for reflection to kind of think back about what you read. So it was just a fun book for people to read and learn more about centering prayer, go deeper in their existing practice, and then read how it has healed and transformed me, in case it can do the same for them.
Mm-hmm. So I'm interested. So just tell me, not to give away your book, but tell me one way that you were changed and transformed, aside from what you've told us about what you've done.
I guess just in general, if I think about who I was before centering prayer, which would be like pre 2014, and who I am after, I'm a much more confident person. I'm much more excited to live life. Not that I was not excited, but I think because I'm more present with centering prayer, you can be more present and enjoy the moment. So I'm more excited. I'm more confident. I'm more willing to get out of my comfort zone and try and do new things. And I seem to get inner wisdom for tasks, because I think it's because I'm letting go of things I don't need, and all of a sudden solutions that were there but just hidden are popping out. And then I think I'm less reactive. Still work in progress, but I think I'm less reactive. I'm more willing to listen to people and not jump to a conclusion or render an opinion or disagree with them, but just be open to people and their different ideas and different ways of doing things. So those are some of the fruits, and more inner calm and peace, just and much quicker to kind of settle myself. If I'm rattled, I can calm myself down and just realize, this is okay. I'm going to be okay. Don't do this to yourself, Rich.
Yeah.
So those are some of the fruits from the practice, and they're really, God. It's what God has done. God has graced me with these fruits. Centering prayer is just the practice that opens you up to God, and to let God give to you as much of God that you can take.
So, tell me the results that you've seen with your coaching and working with people. Do they come back and tell you, wow, this is help and this is how it's helped me? What have you seen? And I always like to ask, and I know there's no blanket as far as how long it takes someone to get to the point they need. But tell me, what are you seeing as far as your average, as far as people who actually are willing to come in and let go and move forward?
I guess everybody's different. So for the newer people, I guess they're just some of the people that are new to the practice. What it's helped them with is it's helped them realize, who God is and that God loves them. So some of them just had a fear of God, and that God was critiquing them and they weren't a good person. So for those people that I coached, kind of the fruits of that was that they were realizing God loves them just as they are. They don't need to fear God, and God is a wonderful presence, and not a judging, critiquing presence. And then that just makes life a whole lot funner, I guess, for them. And then for the other ones that want to go deeper in their practice, I guess it showed them what are some next steps, what are some things they should be focusing on. Like I've coached some people that are, in their late 50s, and then they're thinking about retirement, and they end up discovering, all right, well, what's next for me? And some of them is a book, some of them it's just writing poetry, some of it is, I'm going to have a blog and I'm going to share some of my experiences with people because I think I can help people. So it's just fun to hear people think about, well, what's next? What else can I be doing? What's next? Or what's something I can be doing as I start shifting into retirement? So they found that, very helpful for them.
Great. I love it. And I just love the positivity that comes from it and that you're putting out there. Again, because there's so much that's going on in the world today that I just love seeing positivity when I see people who are actually wanting to help people for the good. That's what really, excuse me, what really means a lot to me. And you have a weekly meditation that you publish. And you say you do interviews on your site. And just tell us more about your site, and it's called Silence Teaches. Tell us more about that.
Sure. So it's easy to find, silenceteaches.com. When they subscribe, I have a free Centering Prayer ebook that they'll get for subscribing. So it's about 12 pages or so. The top of it asks a question regarding centering prayer, and then it answers it on the page. So they'll get that when they come to the site. They'll get the weekly meditation, which usually is centered around centering prayer. And then from time to time, if I enjoy a book that I've read, I'll put a book review out there in case people want to, in case it's a book that they're interested in reading after reading my review of it. Sometimes I interview other people, contemplatives or other interesting people, and I'll send them 5 to 7 questions and then put their answers as a post on the site just to share other people and what other people are doing out there kind of in the contemplative community. There's another thing on my website that I'll do. And then I have obviously Centering Prayer page, which talks about centering prayer. I have a resource page, which really shares online courses that I've enjoyed that other people may enjoy, or books that I've read. I'll put on there, and I put other websites on there too that I find helpful. So I have a resource page which shares that kind of information. And then lastly, I guess 2 other pages are coaching. If they're interested in learning more about working with me on a one-on-one relationship, I have the coaching page to reach out to me. And then I have an invite me to speak page because I have groups that'll reach out to me, either church groups or spiritual director groups or some type of group will reach out to me and say, we'd like you to come in and talk about centering prayer or teach it, or we'd like you to present at our setting a particular component of centering prayer. So I have an invite me to speak page as well. So that's a little bit about some of the things on the site that it's kind of grown to. It started as a simple meditation each week, and then it grew over the 5 years or so to have all of that type of information on it, or the different things I'm doing.
Wow. And did you ever think that, this book that you found that was going to help you in your personal life, did you think that, okay, you writing on something that you found that, oh, this is something that's helping me and I want to share, did you think it was going to turn into all of this?
I did not. And I mean, the neat thing about the book is, people will read the book and then I'll get random emails or I'll get random Facebook messages, or in various ways I'll get reached out to where they're either sharing something about the book that they liked or asking a question. And the neat thing too is, so the book came out in August of 2020. So once a year, you kind of get a readout of how you did from year to year. So, the first 4.5 months, the neat thing from that was half my sales were overseas. So half in the U.S. and half were overseas, in areas such as Japan, Italy, Brazil, Canada, Australia. So it was neat to see where it was selling. And then I had a monk that lived in the Netherlands reached out to me. He had found the book on Amazon Germany, enjoyed it, and just wanted to talk to me. And we had a Zoom call kind of shortly after the book came out. So different things like that that just randomly happen or need. So I never thought I'd be on a Zoom call with we'll call him a professional monk. I mean, that's what he did. He lives in a monastery and he was a monk and he wanted to talk to me. So we talked for about an hour.
Wow. And
those kinds of things, just, random emails, random requests, can you talk to our group, just kind of happen from time to time as a result of the book. And that's been a whole lot of fun.
Wow. Yeah, that is fun. That sounds like, your centering prayer has opened up new doors for you, which is very interesting.
It has, and even the neat thing is, I'm in January. I was asked to participate in. There's going to be a Center and Prayer Summit with which a lot of different speakers and some people that have been doing this twice and three times as long as me are going. We're asked to speak as well, so that was exciting. I was asked to speak for an hour at a summit that'll be mid-January, and that's as a result of just the work I'm doing and then finding that I can help that community and share, how it has helped me as well.
Great. Well, Rich, are you ready for the questions?
Sure. I'm going to, as Center and Prayer does, I'm going to let go and open to the presence and actions of the questions.
That's right. So we're going to see how you do. Oh my God. So who or what motivates you?
Who or what motivates me? I would say silence does. I think silence shows me the way forward. So definitely this silence is Center and Prayer helps show me the way forward in life.
What demotivates
but God,
you?
It's really God. God motivates me.
Okay. Well, what demotivates you?
I guess what demotivates me is when I allow myself to be discouraged, and then I have to snap out of it. But just my emotions can demotivate me, and I have to snap out of it.
When was a time that something was said or done to hurt you, but it worked out for your good?
When was a time where something was said or hurt me? I would even say the publishing of this book. The initial publisher that was supposed to publish it fell through, and I was crushed. And I thought, oh my God, I'm never going to get this book published. But I persevered, and I found another publisher, and it worked out. It was just a great experience. So my existing publisher was a super experience, and the other one probably just wasn't meant to happen and shouldn't have happened. So I would say that I pushed through it and said, I'm going to get this book published, and another publisher came through.
What is your fear?
My fear is, and it's a funny one, but probably many people, that people don't like you, and you have to learn to like. Not everybody's going to like you, so that's always a fear of mine, is that I'm going to be in a setting, whatever the setting is, small, large, families, and somebody's not going to like me, and I don't like that idea. But I have to realize it is okay, but that it's still something that I guess bothers me from time to time.
Yeah. Is there a time when you wish you had done something that you didn't?
There is, and actually, when my father passed away 5 or 6 years ago, at the time, he was in the VA home, and it was myself and my two sisters and my mother, and at the time, I just made a decision to not call my wife and say, "Why don't you bring the kids?" Because it kind of concerned me. Maybe they shouldn't see him pass. But I now regret it. I think they should have been there. So that's definitely a decision that I regret, and I think they should have been there with me and with him.
Is there a time that you wish you had not done something?
These are tough questions. Had not done something. Let's think about this. I would say, got me stuck here. That should be something I wish I had not done. I guess just maybe in general, I've gotten better with Center and Prayer, but sometimes my wife just wants to be heard, and so she might be talking to me, and I'm rendering an opinion or saying something, and then she's basically looking at me like, I don't want you to talk, I just want you to listen, be quiet. So I think I've learned to get better at that, but just be quiet and give my wife the presence and space she needs, and not render an opinion, because I'm just going to get myself thrown out of the room.
Yeah, that might happen, especially if she's a Trina. What is your definition of success?
Success is living from your true self. So not being afraid to live from your true, connecting to your true self, and having the courage and guts to move forward from your true self is success, and for anybody.
I like that. How do you recharge?
Well, definitely centering prayer. I mean, I do it twice a day. So in the morning, it starts my day and prepares me for the day. And then before my late lunch, I take a second sit to reset it's like a reset button and reconnect to God and reconnect to life and finish the day as hopefully as strong as the first part of the day was.
Mm. So what are you awesome at? Don't say centering prayer.
Centering prayer. I guess I love I like working with people one-on-one. So that's my coaching is one-on-one. A lot of my speaking is can be one-on-one. Mm-hmm. And even my day job, I work with individual clients one-on-one. So I think I'm very good with working one-on-one with people, relating to people, building trust, and serving them to the best of my ability.
Okay. What legacy do you want to leave?
I guess I want everybody to take a dose. I want to teach centering prayer, which as many people as possible. Doesn't mean they'll agree with me and do it, but show them the benefits of a daily dose of silence. Because I think if you can only imagine if the whole world took a dose of silence each day, we'd probably be less reactive. We'd be living from our true selves. We'd be more present in life. We might not be doing some of the terrible, mean things we can sometimes do. So I guess my legacy is just to share the benefits of this practice and getting more and more people taking a daily dose of silence, because it can change their lives and change the world.
Mm. So again, tell the listeners how they can connect with you, if they want to work with you one-on-one, or if they want you to come speak.
Sure. The best place is silenceteaches.com. To find me on there, they'll find my free ebook. They'll find my book. If they want to invite me to speak, they'll find that page. So silenceteaches.com is the best place to find me and what I have going on, as well as to contact me.
Great. Well, Rich, I thank you for being on Trina Talk. It's been very interesting, and I'm going to be silent so I can get centered. But thank you so much for taking time out of your day.
No, thanks for having me on, and hopefully this was helpful for your community.
I think it will be. We all know, seriously, we all need to be centered and have some silence so we can hear, the higher power that comes through, so that we can know how to move on with our lives. So I really think there's value in it. I want to thank my guests for being on the show, and I want to thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show, and don't forget to tune in next week.